Hello darlings. So it's incredibly hot here, and but I do only have today if I want to talk to you a little bit more about all the goings on, and I want to just make a connection to show you between the floodings that we had for the Fertility Festival in New Zealand, 13th of February, which opens that 13th, 14th, 15th Lupercalia, and the floodings that we had at Lions Rock, the Virgin, and luckily myself and my daughter and her children were saved at the last minute, as I had spent the 2 months before, and especially the 2-3 weeks before, telling absolutely everybody what was about to happen. And 10 minutes before, somebody came to get us, and then the house was completely flooded. They blocked the drains and we were very lucky. So this was sent to me. I was saying to you in my last video about Pierrefonds being set on fire, as we had in the northeast of France on the 9th of August, 11 people burnt. And we had on the 5th of August, that's the hand of Venus, the hand of Fatima. It is that blind spot of Venus, of that time that she's invisible, that 5 degrees of her cycle. And for the Assumption, so that was in Pierrefonds. So they then, after the burning in the northeast, there was, well, after the D'Artagnan festival on the 5th of August at the Île de Noé, the Eye, the Noah's Ark, Jane of Arc. This is the joining of the Ark of the Covenant. And I didn't mention in the last video, but Maui, the fires were in the head, in the heart, and at the heart of the island. And the island is in the shape of a bust. The head and the bust of a man. We'll be going to see that. So then I said, so I think the tobacco fires were then on the 7th of August. So where Merlin, Arthur's chateau, where they filmed the series, which is next to the village where I went to live at age 17, and I stayed there until I was 36. And I lived in this little village called Marie in the valley, which is Morion-Val. Morion-Val was the old Picardy accent of their way of saying Marie in the valley, would have come out as Morion-Val. So the village, this is right next to Pierrefonds in Compiègne, where the armistice was signed. And this never used to happen. This is the church. So this is one of the oldest churches in France, same dating as Saint-Denis, even older, Roman. And this, very much like the church where I live now, but this church is even older. And now we celebrate, for the Assumption, the rising of the Virgin the day after Bastille Day. And these pictures were sent to me by a neighbour. So this is in the church. Oops. I'll find the pictures again. Let's come back here. So then this was going past our house. I lived in the Abbey, so the church was in our grounds, the Abbey of Morion-Val, where all the nuns were. And there are hidden tunnels that go from the garden, under our garden, to Pierrefonds, so that the nuns could have access to the monks. So this is all completely new. This didn't exist when I was there. They're taking the femme solaire, that lunar energy, she's turned into the masculine energy. She's now the femme solaire. Normally it's the triple goddess, it's the stages of the moon, and now they're identifying the sun, Jupiter, with the Virgin. So this is, you go down and you go to the top of this hill up here where Roman Polanski wanted to use my husband's sister. For the film Testa d'Urberville, and he did actually film the scenes, the harvest scenes, were all filmed on the big plains up here in my village. So you see, you go down. This is all our house as well. We built these stables here. This is the back of our house. The church is up here. And we have a big park. We had a big park. Well, my husband's still there, my ex-husband. And then there's this beautiful chapel at the top of the hill where they bring her for the Assumption. They rise her up. And my little neighbour sent me these pictures. I can't remember if I showed you, because time has passed since I began. I've already tried to begin this video before, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing as I'm setting this up. So I'm going to put this, take away that, and then we're going to come down here. We're going to find the spider web here, and we're going to find, so I've put in south 36, east 174, south 36. I don't know why it keeps moving. It won't give me the places if I write it in. See, if I put Auckland here, it won't. I mean, even if I put here, so I'm just putting that in there, add to list, put that down, and then I'm going to put the dates. So just before, so this represents the feminine axis. This is not northeast, southwest. This is southeast Auckland, and Maui is northwest. So we've got southeast, northwest, and the masculine axis is northeast, southwest. And both these dates, these fires, are just before the fall, and when I was in New Zealand, the floods were just before the spring equinox. Okay, so bear with me, but I can get myself in a right confusion. It would be great to have Lars with me. I shall do this again with Lars, I think. But so it was on the 3rd, it was on the 2nd, and it was for the Valentine Festival. So I may have already showed you this, but I'm getting myself confused because I've just had to speak to somebody for half an hour. And so we're starting again. So the 8 o'clock, we're going to put 8 o'clock at night, just like the fires was about 8 o'clock. 8/8, so February is opposite August. Let's get rid of the light here. Okay, so we've got, and now I'm going to show you. So we're going to put, we click on a planet, we click on Venus, we click H, and we have the horizon. We click full stop, and we've got the equator, and we click that funny one, and that gives us the meridian. So the meridian that I've just put is this that little thing there. Okay, so we've got the equator, the meridian ley line. This is the date of the floods, the time, and we had Mars on Aldebaran, finished its retrograde. We'd had Mars on Aldebaran for the death of the Queen on the 8th of October, Corona's birthday, and we had Venus entering, we had Venus then just still in Aquarius, as we've now got Venus retrograding from Leo. So in this Vesica Pisces, and she was, so let's put as well, so I've put the ecliptic, got the ecliptic here, we've got the equator, we've got the meridian. So for that time, for that date, we've got Northern Hemisphere above the silver triangle, and we've got this line going straight through Taurus, and if we put the time to 9 o'clock, we've got the meridian going straight between this galactic gap between Gemini and Taurus. This is what we see from the sky in New Zealand, in the southern hemisphere, and in that, so that's why I put that little spider web, because that little spider web is showing me the northern and the southern hemisphere, and we've got this line. So between the time the floods began in the evening, and they were between 8 and 9 o'clock, and that is at 9 o'clock exactly, we've got Capella, and we've got on the south, on the other side, we've got Ophiuchus right here. So that is New Zealand. And now let's go to Maui. So I can't put in Maui, it doesn't work. So we're going to just tap it in. So Maui, 20 north, 156 west. I've just put those 20, 156 northwest. No, this. Twenty 56. So why isn't that moving? I have to do it here. Let's do it here. 20. Okay, so this time in Maui, we've got exactly the same thing. So we've got north, this time is in Sagittarius. We go back to 8 o'clock, the exact time of the fires. Got again, bang, between Sagittarius and Scorpio, and that line south. So south, we've got Gemini. So it's marking south, north, that fire. This is the fire in Maui, and you just saw in New Zealand, we're marking the gap. And we've got, so here, these pictures of Lars, we see, so this is the exact spring equinox. So this, in New Zealand, it was a month before. It's always the angle of the mutable cross. So that angle just before that would have marked, we had Leo right on Lion's Rock with Virgo. So just before, we would have had Virgo over here. The death of Virgo, feminine axis for the floods. Earth was hit with the floods. And then for the fall, we've got Pisces. So Pisces, we will have had Pisces just over here. We've got Aries here now, but in this area here, just that month before, we're going to have Pisces right where Maui is. I have a funny feeling that I didn't have the right date when we were looking before. So for the fires in Maui, so I've put the right longitude, latitude again. I've got the 8/8, and we go to so again, it's right. That meridian line is going straight through the hair. And we've got exactly, if I put today's dates, and if I put east, so here, right time, that's basically what I want you to see. And Vega, Sirius, right through Sirius, so marking this new Nile of the meridian, the north-south in that galactic gap. That's why these dates, the Lion's Gate opposite the February in New Zealand is marking this new Nile line. So if we look at the story of the Bride of the Nile, legend says that in pharaonic times, as part of an important festival celebrated in Egypt, a young virgin was chosen from among the most beautiful women in the land and was thrown into the Nile. So where I was in New Zealand, we were at Lion's Rock, where the Virgin stands on the rocks, and we were the house right in front, and we were the only house that didn't have a landslide. We were the only house that was completely flooded, and as I was saying, we were miraculously people came to get us. And I did make a lot of noise. I was telling absolutely everybody what was about to happen to make sure that nothing happened to us. And it was the storm was called Gabrielle, and we just had NEMA come in, the change of government, Chris Hipkins, and NEMA, National Emergency Management, National Emergency Management Agency, and NEMA is the name of, you know, this ferocious woman of the storms, NEMA. It's an ancient name that I covered in the old videos and my blog. So a young virgin was chosen from among the most beautiful women in the land and was thrown into the Nile as a sacrifice to the river god Happy. So there you've got this connection with Lupercalia, where I live here. I tell you, it's where I live, and New Zealand is exactly under the summer-winter triangle. And we've got this new Hawaii 5-0, the hidden hand of Venus, Venus's blind spot, Venus's path, images, blind patch, invisible patch, invisible journey. Venus's orbits. Got so many pictures for the Venus, but Venus's orbit, Venus's path, east-west star. Okay, so here there is the evening morning star, and you can see that this gap here, 50 days, Hawaii 5-0. This is it. 8 evening star, 263, morning star, 263, and for 8 days, 50 days below the horizon, and the sun 8 days. So this is that 5-0, Hawaii 5-0. So we're marking this new points of Hawaii. And we've got Maui here. So we've got the fires right in the eye, the pineal gland, and in the heart of the Lion's Gate. And this stone, we got the canary that I was showing you in Bay of Plenty. So that Bay of Plenty maps. There is this Merlin, Orion, like the canary here, and this is Bay of Plenty, Paddington Bear, BP, and this is where in New Zealand I was at Pia here. Here, this part, so the floods were here, and the floods were here in Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay, here. And this is the Bay of Plenty. So they weren't so hit here. I mean, the island was, the Coromandel was really hit here. And this is Lion's Rock. There's Lion's Rock. It's not the best picture because it's actually a lion. See the lion here and the Virgin sits just here. So I have showed you all the pictures there. You can see a little bit better. Yeah, there's the Virgin. There's the Virgin Mary. Now you see the lion. That's what you see when you come down. So the whole town was, nobody could go there unless you lived there. There's one road that goes down that was completely blocked off, and that was all my fear. 2 weeks before, I panicked with Chloe because of the children taking the bus going up that hill, 17 kilometers to school, and I just saw all this happening and everybody getting blocked off. For the people who lived there to get there, just like in Maui, they can't get back to that part of the island. Nobody can get there. There's no more access. There's, you know, these people were completely cut off. It's completely cut off. Show you a few posts for the 14th, all for one and one for all, Bastille Day. 14 makes 5, V is the 5. V22, B22, Venus flycatch. Venus makes a 5-pointed star every 8 years. Fifth element is the plasma, your head edge. So you need the 4 tunes to make the plasma. She is ending the last buckle retro before the 2024 Olympics. 22 years since 9/11. So they're very much comparing Maui to 9/11 in the numbers of people killed. And yes, hate, N. So this is, again, the name of my village, Enyon, N-on. So these maps that we've been looking at, and it goes straight through Vega, straight through Vega, straight through Vega. That's Sagittarius here, and that's in Maui. So so the famous film in France, La Haine, the Mad Haters T-Rex Party. So we've also got the hair. I showed you, you saw that line went through the hair. I'm not going to start confusing myself and losing it, but you saw between 8 and 9 o'clock, we've got that hair. We're in the year of the hair, the air, the air. The hair is not the air. We've got Saturn at home. T-Rex Party, 8 gates. Maui is Maori without the R. 18, 180, half of 360. Maui was the Latin designation for the Berber population of Mauritius, located in the west side of North Africa on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Mauritania, Tingitani, I can't pronounce all that, in present-day Morocco and northwestern Algeria. So the Berbers, and Morocco is the 5-pointed star. So here, La Enna, the hen, and Kula, the film that I always show you, showing that last leg, that angle of the voice, the gun, the trigger is our voice. It's the 90-degree angle is the last L. LN, it's the LN, so the endocrine system, the thymus gland, and the pineal gland. And this dew, and here, those are the 2 areas of the fire. The N, the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Okay. So I let you finish reading that, but it's basically about making the new bride of the Nile and the sacrifice of the feminine axis before we have the north-south node arriving on that axis. So you see for the chart of the black moon that we had on the 16th, so we have no, that's the 16th. Sorry, I've got the transitions. Let's change chart selection. Bush. Why does it say 10th of October there? Edit. 16th of August. So we can see that that's the date that the North and South node changed, that October date. But for August, we've still got the North node in Aries, we've still got the South node in Libra just before we come into this axis. So we had the new moon just in Leo. I don't know why everybody's saying it was in Cancer. I showed you that in the last video. If we put the transitions now. So the transitions now, we're going to have Mercury going retrograde any second. Mars is now already in Virgo. And the moon is still in Virgo at the moment. It's right on top of my church here. This is an old article from 2016, The Deliberate Terraforming of Earth and the Genetic Modification of Humanity. Talks all about weather modification due to my blog that I can open it, but I can't enter it to edit it. It's impossible. Victoria Cotton blog, WordPress. And this very good old video, Eyes in Outer Space, a Walt Disney Cold War weather control film, you can go and see. Then on the 15th of August, for this date of the Assumption, the 15th, the day after the 14th, we've got Bacchus celebration, telling us for the 19th of August, that was last night, celebrating this god of fire in Montreal, which is a village where I live. We've got a village the same name as Canada, Montreal. LG, 7G, G7, 7G, so G is the 7th, Liberty and Glory, Grace Jones, Jour J, Lust and Greed, Lord Gruffalo. So Lord Gruffalo won on that same day. We just had Roz Cantor wins at European with Lord Gruffalo. I showed you her winning at badminton. So this girl Roz won in France at the Ara du Pan. I think I'll take you to see it. I've got it in my, so she, the Ara of the Pan, that's the pine, the pineal. That was last week when all this was happening. Okay, so that will be just after. I'll show you that. So the GL, G7, Good Life, LG and BT, the Celtic Pan, Bacchus, Dionysus, Soranus, the dark side of Apollo, Polo and Pan. Mercury, like Venus, can be tricks or treats. Dirty Diana, Moon Goddess, and Dirty Apollo, Pan, Sun. This is your climate change god. Vulcan, the hermaphrodite, sexless twins, the two faces of Janus. So this is that line, north-south. It's the two faces, January and July. Hanging on the LGBT telephone, crescent moon, LOLO. We've just had fires in Yellow, a new video of Uno, Yellow Knife or something. Fires in a place called Yellow Knife, LOLO, Pluto in Sagittarius. Is there anybody in there? And the snake of fertility, wisdom, scales of justice. Libra should merge with Scorpio, not the imposter, trickster god. So Maui means trickster. Ophiuchus, 13th sign gap, takes Scorpio, her fertility as his in the GG Galactic Gap. Passage Mr. Tumnus. So that's what I'm trying to show you at the beginning of this video. I'm showing you that these two events in New Zealand and Maui, two Polynesian islands, and I showed you in the famous Mary Ryan pictures that we have the indigenous in that northeast Mary Ryan maypole Queen, you've got that image always with this Indonesian, Polynesian kind of whatever that is that has been put in the 5-pointed star in that angle northeast. Up, where am I? Okay. The fate keeper of the fortune corners, crossroads, X marks the spot. Fifth element comes once you get past the green god joker, your last greed. So this was in the newspapers, the Gallo-Romaine, so the Roman and Greek NRG, the new NRG de Sevillac. So I spoke about that. That's the old Roman baths, the old Bastille in a few videos ago. And there you've got that fire god. He's showing with his lasso, he's showing what I've just been trying to show you on Stellarium. So this is Soranus. You see, taking the keeper of the four corners. And this is the name of the horse that just won with Rose, Kantar, RC, Russia, Canada. There's Janus. And Janus, we've got Bacchus written here. Two sides. We've got the Pan, got the Dionysus and the Apollo, the Polo and Pan. Hermaphrodites, two sides of Beauty and the Beast. And then we've got those two twin boys. They should be sexless. And we've got, again, this is the Hierophant. Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter. So that's this, she's called Joella Blades, and the Cairo. It's the Cairo, the Caroline, the Cairo, the sword in the stone. Ancient Hellenic unified sciences, androgynous deities, how wow I 50, how wow 50, the stable snake, clockwise snake, anti-clockwise snake, and this middle cross, the 50, which has just been marked. And I'm going to show you now. So then for the new moon in Leo, I did this post and I was put in Facebook jail. I've just been put in Facebook jail again, but my whole computer was just taken over with AI. That was quite a weird energy that day indeed. So I have to have blue tack on my screen the whole time. The camera just comes on the whole time and my mouse takes over, and I just had to cancel all my readings that day. I'm back to normal now, but so pictures from Aska showing us this retrograde from the 2023, the 7/23rd to the 9/3 Venus. Mart Sophia will spread her retrograde wings of justice over the foundation of the Solo Moon's temples. The Reaper effect will start from the bottom of on the Boaz and Jacqueline pillars. So here we're coming now, it's exactly 22 years, Venus flytrap, catch 22. That was the black moon in Leo, Venus back in Cancer. This is the deadly mother, this is the passage. We've got Saturn opposite. This is showing the retrogrades. So starting from this retrograde, the next 8-year journey, and the next retrogrades to come. The next one is going to be in Pisces, then in Virgo, then in Taurus, and then in Sagittarius. Understanding the pentagram. So represents man in higher consciousness and lower consciousness. When the pentagram is upright, it represents man in full awareness of his divine nature, enlightened. When the pentagram is inverted, it represents man trapped in matter. Same thing as 50 years since the dark side of the moon, that color to the light, to the prism going through. It is the merging of these two triangles and being able to move between two states of the subconscious and the conscious, the subjective and the objective. So the 888, sun's 8 once a year makes that analemma. The moon has got 8 phases, and Venus every 8 years is that last. So, you know, just like in Back to the Future, the 88 miles per hour, that is what we've just lived. We're living it now. The upright, the all-seeing eye, Sirius, the 2L07, and that's why we've just had a Ara du Pin. There's your pine. We had the European Championships and Lord Gruffalo won. There's the Ark of the Covenant, and that stone, the pineal, Jupiter and Saturn, but Saturn, the finger has been bent. Should be the tallest finger, not Jupiter. Mars bent, and the Sun and Mercury. Gap. It's where we meet. These two events are showing us. That's what I showed you, that line, but they've got it on north. This is north south here. It's exactly what we've just had. They're marking with those events where they want this new line to be, the new dates. So that 5-0 is this 5-0 here of Venus below the horizon as she's retrogrades. Capstone, the table Solomon. So these are showing how exactly at the beginning of this wheel we've got in South Africa, and we've got that Solomon, the capstone, exactly what we've got now. So on the spring equinox, that was the beginning of this wheel, that dates, which I can't even say. Solomon seal, the expansion, the contraction, the eye, the vessel, which is exactly what we saw in the Titanic sinking just as Venus is under the ecliptic, and the sun and the moon, and that 8, we're at that 888, it's the eye. Four corners, the twilight zone is this gap, singularity, and this is the 55 kilometers. Hawaii is just below, Russia, Canada, RC, and that's why we've got this little girl, Ross Cantor, winning, an incredible rider. I'm not taking anything away from her. Absolutely incredible. This tiny little girl on this enormous horse has absolute cool. And she just won again. The British team won, all girl team, all girls. And there we've got this Saturn opposites. So, you know, very much Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. That is your you know, Saturn blocking as the deadly mother this passage. And there is the gap. So it's just off. It's just off the gap. We've got New Zealand here. It's between New Zealand. It's right on a line with the whale's tail, the splash, Mexico, the splits. X marks the spots. This is at the Madeleine in Paris. And this is Auch, where I live. There are the lions. There's the lion gates. And very much like Notre Dame, we've got the cathedral. And this is where Kate and William came to Auch. And they stayed in the chateau next to me, as I told you many times. And there's Saint-Jacques being risen in this gap. That is Christ, the fifth element, the plasma, the Christos oil, when you find the four corners. And that's where I was in Tauranga. In Tauranga. Got here four corners. Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Bethlehem, Bethlehem, right here, Bethlehem, and the four corners. Bethlehem, four corners. Four square, here, right here, and that's where I went to see the closing of the four corners at the sulfur points. Sulfur points. Okay, you know all these pictures, but again, it's to show you these events. And that is your Kairos, CR, Ross Cantor, Charles Rex, Cairo, Canada, Russia, and that Man de Fatima, that 5-0, and the East Star rising, Ishtar's Lion Gates, and that 8. Okay, I had to go down quite far. Ross Cantor leads Britain to double European gold, and all-girl team win European 3-day event championships. English Rose Line, Elizabeth Hormonal Liza, Mona Lisa Line. Girls won in Paris at Arras du Pin. I think that's more in Normandy, Arras du Pin. Pineal, Pine, Penis, Spine, Gland, Ros, Rose, Cantor, RCCR, riding LG, Lord Gruffalo, Acacia, RC, Cairo, Charles Rex, Russia, Canada, RC, 55 kilometers as the weather took a turn for the worst. This is Walter Weather, Lord Ships Gruffalo, the 11-year-old, so I won't go more into that. So this is a friend who's made this post, but she's absolutely got it. Mind the gap. And this for me is that Russia and Alaska, Canada passage, and that is marking that southwest, northeast, and there is your Maui. Yeah, this is exactly the tunnel, the track they want to make that I've covered in my videos, and I've explained that it is the Michelangelo fingers, the ET touching. So very clever. Go from Uno about these fires in Canada still. I mean, it's just terrible, all these fires. So Yellowknife has been the capital of Northwest Territory since 1967. Yellowknife is Sombak's meaning place of money, or where is the money? So that's the moon eye. This is the 17th of August. Wait, you can come and see that video. And what did I write? I think I explained it. It's everything I explain in my work. Canada, Russia, 5 kilometers, the fingers touch. Underneath is Maui, How 5, Wow 5, I 50, the Who, Hidden Hand, 50 days. Venus is under the ecliptic. Pluto has retrograded back to Sagittarius, yellow, before returning to black Capricorn for 20 years. The yellow-black last nuclear passage to open your 5-pointed star eye. So here, Aloe, Mellow, Aloe, Pluto back in yellow, Sagittarius, mutable fire, Asia, the Canary, Medulla, Pierre, stone is burnt by Polo, Jude, Pete and Paul, to Rise, Jack, Canavadas, Tin, Jupiter, Canada, touches Russia. Right, everything I've just said. Let's finish here. So from the 8-8, let's move forward now. We had the black moon. 17 was the fires. The moon was in Leo. Mercury is about to go retrogrades. 18, 19. Today is the 20th. Let's put exactly now. So we've got the horizon, we've got the ecliptic. Let's get rid of the horizon. Let's just keep the ecliptic. So moon. In Virgo, coming up to Spica as Mercury goes retrograde. So the moon will be on Spica, and she's going to be exactly, so she's waxing crescent exactly as we see here. We've got exactly this, exactly the waxing crescent right for the High Priestess on Spica, 2 nights. And Mercury, no, that's going to be on the 21st. The 21st, well, this morning, 1 o'clock this morning, we're going to have the moon on Allées les Bleus, so we'll see what happens. Mercury is going to begin, he is beginning to go retrograde, and from the 23rd, so as the moon is in Virgo, he begins his retrogrades. Be blinded by the sun on the 9/6. On the 9/6, Venus was moving forward from the 3/9. That day I'll always remember. And then, so this is really, things are going to start hotting up big time as Venus is moving forward and she gets ready to start for this period that we're going to be going through, which is really the big time. So what have we got on the Corona's birthday? Day of Corona is the 8th of September that the Queen died. So the 8th of September. We've got Mercury blinded, completely blind the 6th. Mars in VirgO. Jupiter be going retrograde yet. Yeah, he will begin his retrogrades. Be beginning his retrogrades around that date. Venus will be back in Leo on the 24th. It's going retrograde officially on the 4th, the day after Venus moves forwards. And we're going to have, for his beginning, we're going to have the moon in Aries conjunct to Jupiter. So I think we're going to leave it at this now for today. I know that it was a bit messy, but look, it's 35 centigrade, it's 6:30, and it was really the only time I had to myself today. But I just wanted to get that out. I'm going to do my newsletter now as well, and then I'll be ready to go for work this week. And I love you very much. I'm just going to check, but before I end this video, there's nothing else I need to say. Just end looking at a chart for this week. I had to go to the 24th of August to get Mercury retrograde. It's probably in the night of the 23rd that he's already pretty stationary, part of why I'm finding it hard to bring my ideas together today. But we can see then for the beginning of his retrograde, we're going to have moon. So I'll come back to now. (23rd) Mercury. Let's watch Mercury. So today, 20. Yeah, I mean, he really is very stationary right now. He really is. It really is the worst moment, at that moment where he's just getting ready to go backwards. And so officially 24th, and we'll have the moon right between Scorpio and Libra. And then we're going to have the full moon conjunct to Saturn. That is going to be another big date coming up, the 30th. Full moon, bang, sun in Leo, and moon conjunct Saturn. Yeah, that will be that fullest moment. Okay, darlings, I'm going to leave it at this now, and I send you all my love, and you can I'll put my link for readings, and if you want to see my newsletter, I will be writing it later. So subscribe to my newsletter on my site. All my love. Bye for now.